What's up, everyone? Hope you all are having a good um, weekend. I was about to say good night. But so, if y'all remember, if you watched my announcement going into the conclusion of 2025 and beginning of 2026, that was going to be making some changes with like my YouTube channel. Wanting to get a little bit more love. I have been posting a bit of some shorts and everything going on with my gaming side of all that, but I've also been exploring new ideas. I am close to getting ready to start launch a new channel that's going to be focused on a couple things that are important to me, which is going to fall in line with my faith, along with also some some aspects of politics and whatnot. Nearing completion with this preparation and launching that new channel. When that happens, I will make an announcement here. Um, but in the meantime, what I'm wanting to do with this channel, once that one goes live, is this one's gonna be more focused on. There will be the shorts, but it's also gonna be kind of focusing on some gaming news, like what's going on in the gaming world, along with games that are important to me, such as Halo for the biggest thing. Which I know there's a lot of already other people out there that talk about Halo, but this is also a space for like members of the community, my community, to be able to find that information as well. So, without further ado, the point of this video is, if you hadn't already seen, that there is a bit of a shakeup in the leadership of Xbox, with both Phil Spencer along with Sarah Bond announcing their departure. Phil Spencer announced that he is retiring, and allegedly, this is something that's been in the works for some time. Although there are those that have some speculations and doubts of if that's factual or not. And then there's others who are like, "Oh, awesome, cool." Um, he's been with the company for, what is it, 38 years. So if you saw the IGN article, and if you haven't, the IGN article goes in a little bit more detail about his successor, as well as his thoughts of the retirement and everything else. His beginning with Microsoft, if you aren't familiar, he started at Microsoft as an intern and then made his way up the food chain to the point where he became the CEO of Xbox. His so the president of Xbox, being Sarah Bond, who was thought to have been to be his heir to being the CEO, also announced her departure. And this is also why some people are speculating and wondering how much of this is all factual, in the sense of, like, was there more to the story that's not being said, or is this legit? The reasoning for that is, if you have followed Halo, you saw that something similar to this with Halo, with 343 Industries, now Halo Studios. When the leadership was being shooken up over there, Bonnie Ross was the first one to announce that she was stepping away on a kind of like a leave of absence, and that she had some family emergencies and stuff like that that needed her attention, which maybe that's true, and maybe it's not. What we do know, though, is that she didn't come back, and it would be, I think, months or maybe a couple years later that suddenly her LinkedIn became updated and she was doing stuff with Duolingo. And then even Frank O'Connor suddenly was stepping down, and then the third person, whose name I forgot, she stepped down as well. And then suddenly we get a new change of 343 in its leadership, as well as a new studio of sorts, being Halo Studios. So, are we seeing something similar? Is where many speculate and question. At the time of IGN's article, and at the time of people then talking about this, there hadn't been anything from Sarah Bond, so that's when more people were speculating. About an hour after the news broke and everything is about when Sarah Bond finally had came out on at least LinkedIn talking about it, which I had found it when after I was seeing people talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, like Sarah Bond actually 19 minutes ago posted on her LinkedIn. So she shared her message that she shared with like basically the Xbox team of her announcement of her resignation, um, which I'll go ahead and share it here. But it says like, "Hi team, I know that there's a lot of news to take in today. I'm incredibly proud of what we've built together over the past 8+ years. PC and cloud gaming are growing faster than ever. Our next console is well underway, and together we've helped lay the foundation for a more open gaming platform that spans devices and reaches players around the world. When we announced our intention to acquire Activision Blizzard in 2022, I committed to helping lead Xbox through what would be a critical period of change over the past 4 years. We've navigated the moment together, positioned the business for what comes next. We took on some of the biggest challenges this organization has ever faced and did it as one team." So right there, one of the things that I would probably pay attention to is when she talks about them acquiring Activision Blizzard in 2022. A lot of people thought like this was gonna be it. Like Xbox is finally going to start being on top. They're gonna start producing more games and everything. However, what we saw after that was mass layoffs, um, games being cut left and right, games not doing so hot. So this falls also in line of like, was there more to these two individuals' sudden departures or what? Because we've also seen that while yes, like this year there's a lot coming for Xbox, but since the acquisition of Activision and Blizzard up to now, it's not looked so good when it comes to Xbox. Um, exclusives have started to become a thing of the past, which, at the beginning of it, when they were talking about a lot of different games that were being ported over to Sony, or even Nintendo, it was like, well, some of those games, like, they've been old, it makes sense. Like Sea of Thieves, for an example. I used to enjoy Sea of Thieves. I actually used to stream it quite a lot. But over time, it just got really stale. It got boring. A lot of people started leaving that I knew who played Sea of Thieves, started leaving the game and going off and doing other things. There's a lot of Sea of Thieves well, I don't think they have their partnerships anymore, but there was a lot of partners that were Sea of Thieves partners that end up leaving the game, and I'm pretty sure they've also lost their partnerships because they stopped streaming it and stopped promoting it, and that's part of the partnerships. Like the idea of it is that you're gonna be a face of the game. But when that one got announced as being one of those games that was going to Sony, it was like, oh well, that makes sense. it's kind of at the state where it's like, it'd probably be good. Like if you want to keep it afloat because it's a live service game and Rare hasn't really made any kind of intent to do like a Sea of Thieves 2 or anything like that. So it's just like, yeah. But even with that being said, Bethesda was another one where when it first got acquired, it was saying that of course there was going to be exclusives for Xbox, and then there would be also games that were going to be on both Xbox and Sony. However, we didn't really see much come out of there, and the things that did come out of there that were exclusive didn't really last long in being exclusive, and they became both Sony and Xbox. Even in the beginning, for myself, I was like, okay, like there's gonna be red tape, like for an example, Halo. Like there's no way Halo's gonna go to Sony, and I was like, the whole idea of it, I was like, nah, like I could not see it. And then over time, I was like, you know what? Maybe exclusives are a thing of the past. Like, we don't really need it anymore. But at the same time, I think that we do. Halo campaign evolved. The remake of the remake of the remake. Like, I could be okay with that being on Sony because hey, like let's give them a bone. Like hey, you enjoyed that? Come on over here to Xbox and have some more. We got our multiplayer over here, like because it's just like single player game, so that they are putting over there. But at the same time, like there's a high chance that multiplayer is gonna go to Sony as well. The way things have been going, so it really comes down to like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of having all these different consoles? Like, Sony. Well, I mean, Nintendo still does a good job of being just pure for the most part. But if we're bringing games over to Sony and Sony's bringing games over to Microsoft, like, what's the point of having a PlayStation and an Xbox? Like, maybe we just need one console for these two groups. That you know, like the what was it, the old Sony president had said that, where he basically was promoting a one console idea and not having all these consoles anymore. But at the same time, that's a driving force for Xbox's economy is having these consoles. But we've also have seen price hikes in the consoles where they've gone up several times. Game Pass has gone up, and that has caused a lot of uproar and upsetness amongst the community because they're like, "Yo, like, what the heck? Why are you raising these prices? If things are so healthy, you shouldn't have to raise the price for Game Pass or the consoles." So part of me kind of wonders if there's a shakeup in the leadership because the money is just it's failing for Xbox. So maybe the new leadership is going to be tasked with fixing this problem. So maybe under the new leadership, we'll start seeing more exclusives again. I don't know. It is an idea. Um, she continues on with her thing, saying, "With that, I've decided that this is the right time for me to take my next step, both personally and professionally. We are living through a transformative technological era that will shape the next generation of our industry, and I'm energized by what's ahead. This moment also presents a unique opportunity for fresh eyes and new leadership to guide the team into its next chapter. I've had the privilege of spending time with Asha. Asha is the one who's going to be the new CEO of Xbox over the last few weeks, and we've planned for this transition, and I've seen firsthand her deep commitment to our players, developers, and brand. She brings deep technology and commerce experience along with a strong track record of building and scaling platforms that the world uses. Xbox deserves this. I'm excited to see her lead this next chapter. For our team, I'll remain on a special advisor to Asha to help ensure a smooth transition and set the organization up for continued success. I want to thank Phil for his mentorship and friendship over the years. It's been a consistent champion. He's been a consistent champion of this business and the people who make it what it is. I've learned a great deal with the way he leads through in both opportunity and challenge. I'm grateful for his trust and support throughout my time on the team. I also want to thank Satya for his sports sponsorship. Wow, English, what is that? And support throughout my time at Microsoft. As I prepare to sign off, I've been reflecting on three simple questions I've tried to use to guide my days. Did I bring my best? Did I help someone else succeed? Did I do my best work? I hope this answers have been yes for many of you. It's been a privilege to work alongside this team. As always, Sarah. Which does make me wonder if she's already updated her thing. So Asha, so for those of you who haven't already, like maybe haven't learned too much about her, and everything, she's already updated her thing saying she's the CEO of Xbox. Her experience background is that she worked as the vice president of product and engineering from 2017 to 2021 with Meta. She would then go on and become the COO of Instacart from 2021 to 2024, and then a board member of Coupang I don't know what that is. From 2024 to present. It's a Fortune 200 technology platform and South Korea's largest e-commerce company. She's the board member for Home Depot since 2025 to present. And then she's been with Microsoft for 2 years. She started out as the president of Core AI product up till recently, where she led the product portfolio for AI models, apps, agents, responsible AI, and developer tools for customers worldwide. She previously was the CVP head of product for Microsoft's AI platform. Um, she is now the CEO of Xbox. She has not made any messages on here. I was curious if she would have. Actually, JK, she did. Sort of. So, Asha posted, "Today I'm honored to step into the role of CEO of Microsoft's gaming. Over the last 25 years, Xbox has grown to reach more than 500 million monthly active players around the world, including nearly 40 studios across Activision, Bethesda, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. Together, these teams care for some of the most enduring and beloved franchises in entertainment, including Halo, Minecraft, The Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Candy Crush, and Fallout. Our reach today spans diverse geographies and generations." Did I say diverse? I meant devices. That's where I can't English. "Thanks to Phil Spencer for his leadership and to every studio, platform, and operations team that built this foundation. I want to congratulate Matt Booty on his promotion to Chief Content Officer. Matt's career reflects a lifelong commitment to games and to the people who make them. I am looking forward to partnering with and learning from him. I believe gaming is one of the most powerful art forms in the world. It brings people together, it creates real opportunities for developers, artists, storytellers, and entrepreneurs everywhere. That combination of creativity and technology and the chance to help people make and share something meaningful is why this work matters to me. Gaming has always pushed the limits of technology. It demands the best from hardware, software, and services. It brings together art and engineering in ways that few other media can. I'm grateful to the teams who built Xbox. The future belongs to the teams who dare to build something surprising, something no one else is willing to try, and have the patience to see it through. I am grateful to embark on this journey with Matt, Dave McCarthy, Kirsten Ward, and the rest of the Xbox leadership." That being said, so a lot of people are concerned because of her background with AI. Then some people are like, well, Matt's still there, because before the shakeup, it was Matt, Phil, and Sarah, it being like the trio. Now it's Asha and Matt. They haven't said if there was going to be a replacement, as far as I'm aware, for Sarah. Maybe there won't be. Who knows? But the thing is also is that with them talking, kind of like highlighting about the growth and the changes and improvements of technology, the growth, her ability to grow, like the finances and stuff. Again, of recent, Xbox has been struggling when it comes to finances, so maybe this is another reason why Asha was picked. Because again, also there was so many who had suspected that Sarah was going to be the heir apparent or heiress to Phil's position, but then that didn't happen. So maybe that's one of those things where, because that's, some people are speculating that when it was announced that Asha was, that this was the reason why Sarah resigned, because she didn't get the position. But I also wonder if it came down to the strengths, if it's felt that maybe Asha would be able to fix Xbox's position when it comes to the finances, the income that comes in. Maybe that's the view on this. Who knows? When we interesting. Um, even so Matt even talks about his point of view on all this. Matt says, I read Phil's note from with much gratitude. He's been a steady champion for game creators in our studio teams, and I've learned so much from his leadership over the years. All our games have benefited from his foundational support. I'm also grateful to Satya for his ongoing commitment to gaming and holding a vision of how it can connect back to the larger company. Looking forward, I'm excited to partner with Asha as our next CEO. Our first conversation centered on her commitment to making great games and the role that plays in our overall success. She asks questions, pushes for clarity, and wants our choices grounded in player and developer needs. The mindset matters as the industry around us is changing quickly. How players engage, how games are made, and how businesses, models, and platforms evolve. We have good reasons to believe in what's ahead. This organization and its franchises have navigated change for decades, and our strength comes from teams who know how to adapt and keep delivering. That confidence is grounded in a strong pipeline of established franchises, new bets we believe in, clear player demand for what we are building. My focus is on supporting the teams and leaders we have in place and creating the conditions for them to do their best work. To be clear, there are no organizational changes underway for our studios. Thanks for everything you do for the players and for each other, Matt. Phil, so he had made a post thing as well where he was like, it's rare in life to know when a chapter is closing but after 38 years at Microsoft, that moment has arrived for me. I've made this decision to retire and begin the next chapter of my life. It's a milestone that's given me a chance to reflect on the incredible journey I've been fortunate enough to share with so many of you. I'm excited for Asha as she steps into the CEO role. She's joining an incredible group of people, teams full of talent, heart, and deep commitment to the players they serve. Watching her lean in with curiosity and real desire to strengthen the foundation we've built gives me confidence that our Xbox community will be supported in the years ahead. Thinking back to my start as an intern in 1988, I never could have imagined the path ahead. I've been lucky to work with so many passionate creators, partners, colleagues, and players across the industry. People who challenged me, taught me, and made this work full of joy and wonder. Thank you to everyone who's been part of this chapter. This community has meant more to me than I can say. From here, I keep doing what's always mattered so much to me, cheering on the teams, pushing the industry forward, and players alongside the incredible community. I'll see you online. So, some of the reasons for the speculation of why the Microsoft could be doing the idea of their being pushed out, but making it seem like it was their decision to step away, is because it looks better that way. To say, oh, I was retiring, I've been here for like 38 years, like, it looks good, especially when you're like, I was with the company for 38 years, I started as an intern, and then I became the CEO within the span of 38 years. With Sarah, like, I mean, like, she kind of throws out her credentials of like, look, was helping everything move forward when we acquired these companies. I was doing this and that and that and this, and now I feel like I've done my role, I've done my part. It's time for me to move on to the next chapter. Again, these things look good. They seem good. It was the same when Frank O'Connor and when Bonnie Ross, when they made their announcements and everything, like, there wasn't anything really that indicated that they were being forced out. Even Joe, everyone's favorite Halo nerd, when he stepped away, there was nothing negative, nothing like. I mean, people today still speculate that he was fired because they heard in a rumor and they leak, but nothing's ever been confirmed that he was laid off. When Microsoft came in with with a guillotine and just started hacking away at the internals of 343. Again, everyone just speculates and theorizes that Joe was one of the unfortunate ones to get the cut, to get the axe. But all we ever saw was him talking positivity, and everything else went on to work over at Netflix when Netflix was trying to get into the gaming side of things, and then Netflix was like, actually, JK, we don't want to do that. So then he leaves, goes over to Duolingo, and now he's doing something else with gaming again. It's weird that everyone's going to Duolingo. I almost wonder if the next thing we're going to see is Phil Spencer is the CEO of Duolingo, because Bonnie Ross went there shortly after, sometime after Joe was there. She's I'm trying to remember. I think it was Joe's the one that brought chess to Duolingo. If you didn't know, you can do chess. You can learn how to play chess. So if you're not a good chess player, you can pick up Duolingo, and that will fix that for you. But I almost wonder if we're going to see like Phil Spencer become the CEO of Duolingo, and then maybe we're going to see Sarah Bond is a member of the board of Duolingo. That seems to be the fall guy. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, I want to believe, when I see these changes, I want to believe that these are going to be good things. That these are going to be things that's going to make things right with Microsoft. That we're going to start seeing Xbox in a position of strength rather than the continued weakened position it's been in. My hopes are that we will see that we will see a stronger company, that Xbox will kind of start reclaiming its position of strength and start doing what us gamers want. And we'll start seeing more games, good games, games that are not being rushed, games that feel complete, games that just, they don't feel like, again, they weren't rushed. Like, you know, we've had a lot of problems like that where games were being rushed. They weren't ready. They needed a little bit more time cooking. Granted, you know, the unfortunate thing of some of those games that was happened during COVID. So, you know, a lot of people tend to forget about that some of these studios, like 343, that happened to be based in Washington, they were under a very strict rules when it came to COVID and everything. So, you know, some of these games definitely needed more time cooking. Joe came in, saved the day for a lot of things. Like Halo Infinite was in a really bad position when Joe came in, and Joe fixed it. A lot of that. There still needed some more time, I think, with cooking it, but also at the same time, gamers are becoming impatient, which is something that's super funny because a lot of gamers who felt like Halo needed more time cooking were also the same ones who sat there complaining that Halo just seems to like never want to be released, and we're just never going to be getting it. It's going to be internally made, and that's going to be the end of that. And then when we get it, they're like, oh, this game needed more time cooking. It's like, what is it? Do you want the game to be continued cooking, or do you want the game to, you know, be half-assed? Because the guys are acting like it needed to be half-assed, but then when it is, you're like, no. So, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. My take on this is it's gonna be an interesting change, for sure. I do hope that these changes are gonna be for the good. One of the other things that is a speculation is that there was a rumor that there was gonna be some mega layoffs happening by the end of 2025, and it didn't happen. So then the theory was it was gonna be sometime in the beginning of 2026, and it didn't happen. Instead, we get two leadership individuals leaving. So maybe that was the trade-off. We get rid of these two individuals here, and then we won't do the layoffs. Who knows? I guess we'll just see. My fingers are crossed that we won't see more layoffs. The gaming industry cannot afford to have all these layoffs. It's not healthy for game development. It's not healthy for the morale of people, because if they just if you're in the industry and you're constantly seeing people around you being laid off, like, it makes you question Should I be concerned? Should I start looking for a new job? I was actually recently talking about this to one of my friends, where it used to be back in the day, like the best safe spot was to work in the corporate level, to get out of like the lower level of things. Like for an example, if you worked at Best Buy, right? The best spot to be in is get out of the store, be in either a district leadership position or get into corporate leadership, because then you're somewhat safe. If you're in a district, I mean, you're bound to move up, right? Or you go lateral. But over time, even corporates start getting hacked, where people are just like, all right, and we're laying off this group here, that group there. And then you start having a lot of empty spaces in your offices, and you're like, should I look elsewhere? Do I need to go lateral myself? Like, what's happening? So it's gonna be interesting to see, for sure, what's gonna happen with Xbox. And it's up to the summer. I don't think we'll see too much in the leadership, until the summer. I think the summer is where we'll start seeing it. It was the same with Halo, right? Where when the leadership change happened, everyone was like, "Well, this could be good. This might not be good. Time will tell." And then we got told that there was all these games being cooked. We're like, "This could be good." Then you have those pessimistic gamers who are like, well, Halo Studios might be different. We don't know. When we see their first game, we'll know if this is really a new studio or is this 343 Industries just of a name change. It's like they're not even trying to give Halo Studios a chance. They're just still sitting there going, Halo Studios, aka 343 Industries. And it's like, no, it's Halo Studios. Like, 343 is dead, just like old Bungie is dead. Like, let's move forward, guys. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, your thoughts on this. Do you think that, do you think Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond are being forced out? Was this maybe actually planned? Where at least as far as Phil Spencer is concerned, maybe that was planned. But was Sarah Bond's departure planned, or was that something of like, I'm upset that I didn't get the CEO position, so I'm moving on elsewhere. Maybe that is the case. Maybe she was ready to leave, right? Maybe she has been looking elsewhere. Maybe she has a position lined up somewhere, and that position's not vacant until after the summer. Who knows? Maybe she too is stepping away for personal life reasons. Like, it could be that she wants to spend more time with her family and everything. Who knows? What we do know is we can, monitor people's LinkedIn's, right, and see what happens next, and everything, and then put more speculation of, was that a forced out or was this legit? And then, fingers crossed that these changes are going to be positive, that we will see really good content going forward at Xbox, that we'll start seeing an Xbox that we desire to have, as far as games and content, and maybe have some of that return of exclusivity and not these games that are being cross-platformed. Give us a reason, Xbox, right? Give us a reason to want to buy an Xbox. Give us a reason for that. Like, don't sit there and continuously push games out to another platform, or then we sit there and go, well, what's the point? There's a lot of games over on Sony. I personally am not a Sony person. I'm not. But I know people who are. And if you continuously give them reasons to stop buying an Xbox, for the biggest reason for most people, like, I used to work at Best Buy, back when the Xbox One first launched. I remember a lot of people were torn between Halo or Xbox and Sony. They wanted Xbox because of Halo, but Xbox was also struggling, coming out with exclusivity games. And so they were like, well, as much as I like Halo, there's a lot of games I like that are going on the PlayStation. So am I willing to just buy a console for just one game? Or do I buy a console where I can play half a dozen other games? And be fine with that and miss playing Halo, but at least I get all these other games. And it was when people would say these statements, I'm like, I mean, I can't argue with that, point of view to a level of extent. At the same time, Halo. Like, I'm a big Halo fan. I'm also a brand loyalist. When I start with a brand, I'm loyal to that brand. I have a Samsung phone. I don't have an iPhone. I was all about Samsung TVs and appliances until during my time working at Best Buy. I'm still all about Samsung appliances as far as your kitchenware, your kitchen appliances, and your washer and dryer. But when it comes to the TV, on the other hand, Sony all the way. When it comes to cameras, definitely also Sony. I've always been a Canon user, but I also really like the mirrorless DSLRs from Sony. So, but for the most part, when it comes to most things, it's going to be one brand and only one brand. For the longest time, I was all about Canon cameras, the DSLRs for Canon. But then when I started learning a bit about the mirrorless and started really comparing between the two, it made more sense of like why Sony mirrorless DSLRs were the better way to go. On top of that, I mean, we're also talking about Sony, who's been heavily involved in film and audio, so it makes sense that they're going to have good cameras, they're going to have good TVs, they're going to have good audio systems. Like home theater, Sony all the way. So, that being said, like I said, let me know in the comments your thoughts and your theories about what your thoughts are on this change for Xbox, and what's your theory of where things are going to go. Should we be concerned that the new CEO comes from a slight background of AI, or should we be okay, like give it a benefit of the doubt that she's going to be okay? Because there is, I think it's in the IGN article. You can go check it out yourself. I do believe that IGN in that article, she did mention that she is against the idea of AI slop, and that AI is not going to replace the artists, the designers. AI is a tool, and it's just another added tool in the toolbox for artists, for designers to be able to do things. Which I think, if I remember correctly, it was the CEO of the company that made the new Baldur's game. I forget what the name of the company is. Everyone's like obsessed with them. But if I remember correctly, he had even made a comment about this where AI is not replacing the individual. It's just a tool to make things easier, to make things better, in the sense of like you can, because the AI has to be trained, right? So you can train the AI to build a floor. So you can be like, you can design the floor and be like, all right, AI, like I want you to fill this dungeon with this model of the floor. And then it's like, all right, cool. And it does it. So it makes the designing of games basically faster, because you're not sitting there having to copy and paste. You can just design it and be like, all right, AI, use this. If you sit there and you think about the map design, you create the wall, like forging. If you're, a forger in Halo, how that is, like you go, okay, here's the walls, like this is the wall design I want. Now I'd like you being the AI, to create, this, you give out the dimensions of like a base. You're like, I want it to, here's the dimensions, put walls around the perimeter of this particular wall. Now use this particular floor. Now here's the stairs, here's the doors. I want, on this floor, there's going to be a long hallway, there's going to be 6 doors down this hallway, or whatever. Like you can sit there and basically create all the artwork, and then you just have AI start to establish everything for you, and then you're getting games a lot faster, rather than what was it, 2017, 2018? I think it was 2017, right? When we got the announcement trailer for Elder Scrolls 6, and here we are in 2026. the way I look at it is like with Bethesda doesn't change things in its development of games. Elder, I almost feel like Elder Scrolls 6 or Elder Scrolls 7 may be the last Elder Scrolls game I play in my life. Like, I'll probably be like a 90-year-old man going, oh, we're finally getting Elder Scrolls 8. Like, what? So, that's one of those things where it's like, I'm not fully against AI. I do think AI can make things a lot easier, a lot things faster. It can cut down that development time. Yes, there will probably be some roles that will be eliminated. That's just inevitable because that's how technology is. Technology is inevitable in killing people's jobs. Like cameras, for an example, we used to have to go into a red room to develop the picture. And then digital cameras became a thing. And so suddenly no one was really doing that anymore. I took a camera class, photography class in high school where we had to go around with the older cameras and then go into that special red room to develop the film. But that was also during the time when digital cameras were replacing them, and cameras then started getting somewhat replaced by phones. Like it comes down to if you want a really good picture, you're gonna buy a DSLR. Otherwise, there's no other point to get any other type of camera because the quality of those cameras, those point and shoot digital cameras, is the same quality from your phone. So, technology replaces things. It's just inevitable. Horses got replaced by cars. Cars and planes somewhat got replaced. Well, cars and trains somewhat got replaced by planes, but not entirely. But how often do you travel by train if you're not living in the city? You know? So it's just something to remember is that technology is inevitable. Technology and death of jobs is inevitable. Like it's gonna happen. But technology also helps us be able to do our jobs and perform our jobs faster. So, that being said, that's the end of my soapbox there. Just wanted to, get my take on this. I do think it's an interesting development, and I'm curious to see what comes out of it. Thank you for watching this. Give it a like, give a comment below, and I look forward to seeing your responses. Other than that, have a good one. Cheers.